Warning: the following video might contain moments that might be too disturbing for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Scratching an inch on my back, I follow a hollow the size of a tack head. At my bathroom mirror, I rolled my shoulder forward. Next to my shoulder blade, on my upper middle back, was a tiny hole. No plug, like a normal blackhead, but a deep hole. Ouch my finger in the mirror, prodding it. I dug my fingernail in, but could only force the tip. As a message, the cavity, yellow mucus discharged onto my finger from the top shelf of the hallway closet. I took a small flashlight. Watching the mirror, I shined light into the hole. It went deep. Hopping onto the edge of the sink, I twisted my body and tried to see if there was a bottom. But inside the hole, as far as I could tell, there was only darkness. Later, walking down the hall of my apartment, something stopped me. A faint buzzing. I scanned up and down the hall. There, walking along the top of the wall, it was a wasp. The wasp was alone, walking serpentine, seemingly in no direction in particular. I considered whatever to kill it. I had bug spray in the hall closet, but hated the smell, especially when I was about to eat. I decided to deal with it later and went to the kitchen. As I finished my meal, the itch on my back worsened. Scratching it only strengthened the burning, making my shoulder twitch. I went to the bathroom mirror, ruined my t-shirt, and rolled my shoulder forward. I gasped. Holes. 5 of them. They were perfectly circular and of equal size, clustered together at the edge of my shoulder blade. I prodded the sentry and it crumpled inward like paper. When I pressed harder, I felt resistance. I stared at the holes for a long time, waiting for them to do something. But nothing happened. I considered splashing on some water, but the burning had subsided. A rash, I thought. Maybe the shirt wetted it off. I couldn't sleep. Splayed on my front, drool passed my mouth to the sheets. My shoulder throbbed it. I couldn't help but reach around and scratch. My fingers dug into skin that felt deeply cracked and flaky. My hand recoiled. I swung off the sheets and went to the bathroom mirror. A gray mound had formed across my back, riddled with holes. I suddenly found it difficult to breathe. I sat on the sink, body twisted, staring at the holes. Each one was well defined. At the edges of the shapeless growth, my skin was puffy and red. I poked it. It was tender. Puss must have been pulling underneath. Then I felt something move. The thing, small and black, covered in red mucus, emerged from a hole in the sentry cluster. I froze. It was the insect's head, twitching. As it wriggled out, blood seeped from the hole and drew a red line down my back. A wasp, blood-soaked. It fanged its wings, using its front legs. It cleared the mucus from its head. Then the wasp walked across the holes, paused, scaring to one, disappearing. My heart hammered. My hands were moist. I got off the sink and stood before the mirror. My chest rose and fell. I cupped cold water in my hands and splashed my face. My back itched so badly. Baring my teeth like an animal, I scratched the nest, digging with my nails, and shaved paper from the holes. Gray flax floated to the floor. A sharp sting jerked my whole body. It came from inside me. Another sting, deep inside my abdomen, somewhere amid vital organs. It stole my breath. Doubled over, I gripped the edge of the sink. Eyes pushed out, weeping. Breathe, I thought. Don't panic. With effort, gradually, I filled my lungs, rose and looked in the mirror. Half a dozen wasps hovered around me, as if patrolling their territory. They circled me. I covered my ears against the biting hum. I met my twin sister at a local cafe. Acutely aware of the nest, I leaned forward in the booth and held that posture so as not to cause more stinging. I wore a light black cotton shirt. The wasp seemed to accept it, only having stung my insides once so far. I sipped my coffee. She arrived, wearing a long white collar shirt and black tights. Her hair was jet black, like mine. We had the same pallid skin and were both thin and small framed. She gave me a half smile and went for a hug. No, I gurgled with my hand. I can't. Sliding her eyes to the side, she withdrew and sat down, sighing. She rested one hand over the other and examined them, then started picking at a nail. How are you holding up? She said. Fine. She sighed again. Dad said you're not answering his calls or his emails. She finally looked up. Her hands covered her mouth. Oh, God. I glanced at my shoulder, then down toward my eyes. You look awful, she said. I didn't respond. Have you been eating? I nodded and sipped my coffee, considering whether or not to tell her about the wasps. They were moving throughout my chest cavity, navigating between gorgons, reinforcing the walls of their nest with more regurgitating pulp. Some inched their way to the surface of my back, annoyed, I sensed, at being close off by the shirt. I need you to do something for me, I said in a weak voice. My sister shook her head. No way. What? I said. I'm not talking to Dad for you. A wasp nudged the inside of my shirt over my shoulder. I saw a moving lump. What's wrong? She asked. Nothing. I clapped a hand over the bump. A sharp sting made me wince my eyes shut. Nothing? I'm fine. I've just got a rash on my back. It itches. Let me see. No. Just in time. The waiter arrived with her coffee. Really, I'm fine. When I glanced over my shoulder again, there were at least 10 bumps across my back. Shoot. What? Well, you tell Dad I'm fine. Tell me you saw me. I said no. Are you still seeing the psychologist? I didn't reply. You need to talk to someone. It's been over a month. My sister went to sip her coffee, and as the cup met her mouth, her entire body jolted. The cup clattered onto the saucer, breaking in half. In all directions, liquid spread across the table. A wasp floated up. Jesus, a wasp, she said, pushing herself off. I said too, you okay? God, that hurts. She rubbed a spot on her leg. I'm sorry. For what? I have to go. Right now. She was cut off by another jolt, her arm rasping curses. She swatted at the bug. Everyone in the cafe had turned towards us. I cut through their stairs and left, piled into my Volvo, removed my shirt, and drove home. By the time I got there, the car was full of wasps. They sung several times during the drive. Entering the house, I paced my living room, staring at the ceiling. I shut my eyes, dug my fingernails, and clenched my teeth, and ripped open the nest. Inside my ribcage, the wasps stirred into a wild frenzy. They stung me mercilessly. I screamed. The pain was excruciating. In the rage, I ripped and tore at the nest. Chunks of outer crust broke off. The wasps attacked my hand, jutting their stingers in like needles, again and again. Nerves hot. My mind swam in pain. At the end of the room stood a pyrenean wall of exposed brown brick. I sprinted headlong into it. My twin sister and I stood beneath the enormous gnarled face tree. That's what we used to call it. It was long dead. Well, before we were kids, etching our names into it with a Swiss Army knife. The hollowed-out sentry yawned open like a shrinking mouth, and above were two thin gashes for eyes where the bark had rotted away, leaving smooth discolored wood. Deep in the forest, the sky overcast, the air cold. She tended to a pile of sticks and logs, averting her gaze from my body. Suddenly hunched, I was angled against the tree, taking protracted, strained intakes of air, but I could view what she was doing through one weeping eye. A cluster of egg-filled holes closed over the other. Thousands of wasps droned over me, climbed over me, into me, and through me. Quick, I said to my sister weakly. She scrunched the newspaper into balls and shoved them beneath the kindling. This can't be the only way, she said, rubbing a tear with her wrists. You need to see a doctor. I didn't have the energy to answer, but I looked it up online and knew this was the only method to display the colony without angering them. My body was a raw husk of throbbing pain, my skin a seeping landscape of welts, and a round of stinging would kill me. She lit the fire. When it grew strong enough, she piled on the dry leaves and grass she collected, and smoke began to bellow. Using a picnic blanket, she fanned the smoke towards me. The wasps stirred as they scurried to the surface of my body. I wondered whether I could survive without them. Some must have dislodged from deep within my viscera because they emerged from the holes, sticky with pink mucus, as my body emptied with the bugs, like fluid aspirated with my painful cysts. I felt tremendous relief. I was silently lighter. A crack echoed throughout the woods as I straightened my back. It was a nest, breaking. I could breathe normally again. I'm alive, I thought. All I have to do is get this dead nest removed. A scream severed my thoughts and sent my flesh crawling. I turned toward the noise. No, my sister. She was running from a flying mass. The wasps were descending upon her. I ran toward her, yelling. The black mass enveloped her. She stopped running, beating at them, screaming maniacally. Get away from her! I cried. My voice was lost in a deafening hum, so loud it seemed to vibrate the earth. Every trace to my sister was gone. In her place, an oblong vortex of black swirled viciously. As I approached, I beat at them with my hands, crying for my sister. Oddly, they weren't stinging me. No matter how hard I swatted, forcing myself towards the center of the vortex, the wasp wouldn't attack me. When I reached into the center of the flurry, I felt something hard. A shoulder, then an arm. Get away from her! I screamed. The volume of the buzzing weakening. The wasps were gradually dissipating, and the shape of my sister was revealed. She lay in my arms. The last few bugs rose from her body, and what they left behind sent me into shock. They had gorged on her clothes, her hair, her skin. The wasps had devoured it all. Chunks of flesh were gouged out. The sockets of her eyes had been hollowed through. Wailing, I held my face against the wreckage. My tears leaked into her. My mind split to pieces. Now at a safe distance from the smoke, the wasps returned to their nests, landing on me and wriggling into their holes. No, I said, whimpering. Oh, please, God, no. Indifferent, the colony regenerated her soft tissue and used it to repair cracks in the nests. So that was Halls, a creepypasta. And my thoughts on it? Damn, that's a pretty disturbing one. And pretty much, focusing around a very scary phobia that was pretty common for people, which is trypophobia, which is a fear of holes. And it makes matter worse if it does involve with wasps. And wasps are pretty scary insects, in a sense. They're kind of, very aggressive, versions of, the good old bees. Unlike bees, wasps can, sting you rather painfully. Since, they're not as friendly as bees. Because, wasps are, vicious, little insects that, that we had to avoid. And this story pretty much did a good job at it. And that ending is just so damn brutal. I felt bad for the protagonist to, lose his sister by those pesky wasps. And, the whole story is just straight up disturbing. The protagonist just becomes, the new hive for these, wasps. So yeah. And, yeah. If I actually, pretty much just become, a hive to the wasps, maybe I should, that'll be, a huge nope moment for me because, I'm just kind of scared about, getting stung by wasps, since, any insect that kind of are poisonous and venomous, yeah, that's a big nope for me, so, yeah. So, yeah, just hope you guys enjoyed this, Creepypasta reading video on holes, and, man, I bet you guys are gonna have a pretty scary, have a very difficult time to sleep because, because this story is pretty much disturbing, especially it's actually focusing around a fear of holes, since, it's pretty much a common fear for people to have that phobia, so, yeah. So, and comment this video and subscribe for more content. So, this is Mr. Freddy here, and I hope you have a very good day, so, bye.